I am livid. The only person I've had sex with within the past 5 years has been my wife. I thought I had a bladder infection or a UTI, and scoffed when my doctor thought it was chlamydia. Well, here we are. I got the test results yesterday and I have chlamydia. Decided to start snooping, and it didn't take long to find the text messages between her and her boy toy. My guess is she doesn't even know she had it as well. She thinks I stayed up all night working, but little does she know I've already emailed her little lover boy's wife all the text messages. I warned the lover boy's wife that he's been sleeping with an infected woman and to get herself tested. I'm still deciding how to process this all, but wifey's going to wake up to my positive test results and the messages of her infidelity. The sun should be coming up in the next hour or two, and probably will be the end of this marriage. Now for the top comments. You should just casually drop his name over coffee. So, I was thinking you should probably tell John he has chlamydia. Damn, I am sorry for you. Wish you the best in the future without a cheating wife. Bad news, an STD and a ruined marriage. Good news, a treatable, non-permanent STD and freedom from a cheating spouse. OP, lawyer up and document it all and take pictures of it as evidence. Now for the update. The short of what happened was, my wife gave me chlamydia. I found out she was sleeping with a coworker and planned to blow our marriage up that night. Thankfully, my drunken mind decided to wait. I'd gotten into contact with the coworker's wife, giving her evidence of what was going on and informing her that the two cheaters probably both had chlamydia. I did this because I suspected my wife was cheating with more than one person. In her texts, her lover boy had asked her if he was the only one she was screwing at the time, and she gave a non-answer. I know this dumb broad well enough that I knew she was screwing someone else as well. Luckily, the coworker's wife got back to me first thing in the morning to explain that she figured he was seeing someone else. The two of them were privately separated at the time, and their separation agreement stated they were not to see anyone else at the time. She had her own suspicions and thanked me for reaching out. We agreed that she would not confront her husband until I could cover my own ass legally in exchange for the evidence I had of their affair together. She also confirmed to me that her husband didn't have chlamydia, at least when they were still together. I decided to not confront my wife that morning. I pretended everything was fine and dandy while I looked for lawyers and dug deeper to figure out the mystery of the chlamydia caper. I installed a keylogger on my wife's personal computer and quickly got access to a secret email. Where guess what? My wife was talking with someone on a hookup website. The best part was that it solved the mystery, as the man informed her he tested positive for chlamydia and that she probably had it. Even better, these emails were from months before I was infected myself, meaning she knowingly infected me with chlamydia. Disappointed that it was not in fact the chlamydia fairy that caused all this, I have a lawyer. It's not looking well for my soon-to-be ex. The fact she knowingly infected me made my lawyer salivate, along with the mountain of proof of her infidelity. The house we live in is my parents', and we've kept our finances separate since the beginning. Her chances of getting much, if anything, out of me is pretty slim. I served her the divorce papers last month. I bought a security camera on Amazon when this all started, saying I was going to put it over our front door. I hid it in the living room the morning I decided to confront her. I decided to take one of the top comments from my first post on how to drop this on her. We were sitting and having breakfast when I said, "So, I'm curious, does coworker know you infected him with chlamydia as well?" The short of it was she cried, apologized, tried to claim it was a one-time thing. I brought up that this was her second affair, tried to claim she loved me, tried to blame me, screamed at me that I don't make her feel loved, yada yada, you get it. I served her the divorce papers and her eviction notice right after. I'm staying with my parents until she's out of the house in a few weeks just to be safe. I'm juggling if I want to try and press assault charges against her for knowingly infecting me with chlamydia. As my lawyer said, it should be pretty easy to prove with the emails we have. Overall though, I just want her out of my life like the STD she is. Now for the top comments. Not feeling loved. The title of every cheater's journal. Have you run a standard STD test? She already gave you one. Who knows how many other men she has slept with? Press charges. That's some insidious shit she pulled. What if it was a more severe STD? Press charges. It could have been the drug-resistant strain of gonorrhea or hepatitis. You're not her only victim. She's going to keep doing this to other people. All you will be doing is creating a record of how many people she knowingly infects. Press charges. She not only willingly infected you with chlamydia, but another man as well. She will keep doing this. She is not to be trusted. Awful actions deserve consequences. You've done everything right and did an absolutely beautiful savage takedown of that woman. Happy you are supported by family and the other spouse victim. Please keep updating. Now for the next story. When wayward spouse asked me for a separation, he wanted me to move out of our jointly owned home and figure out the financial separation. So I stayed between friends and family and organized a lawyer, even though I was distraught as hell and didn't want to separate. He started organizing to see me again and we talked about reconciling. The next time I saw him, he told me he didn't think he wanted to reconcile anymore. When he received the first letter from the solicitor, he got upset and did nothing. I had to push him to respond to it. Then he started IC and asked me to put the separation on hold because he was having second thoughts again about reconciling. I decided to move back into our house because the insecure living situation was very stressful, and I still had to help pay our mortgage. Not long after I moved back in, he started to treat me with increasing coldness and cruelty. I discovered he had been lying to me about seeing AP. Around this time, he had also started to engage with the girl he is with now. We both went to couples counseling, even though we weren't reconciling. We had barely ever fought while we were together, and even the initial breakup was quite civil. But after started seeing AP again and engaging with girl number 2, it got toxic fast. I won't go into details, but I felt sick with fear whenever I was home because I didn't know what awful thing he would say to me next. I tried to set boundaries to protect myself, but he would get mad because he didn't want to be controlled. I re-engaged the legal separation not long after it was clear he had no intention of trying. He said he was resolved in his decision to separate, but he was hostile every step of the way. We couldn't have a reasonable conversation about it because he didn't want to deal with it and also saw it as some sort of contest he had to win, and I had to lose. I stopped being proactive about getting things sorted for a couple of months because I was freaking drowning. His response was to hassle me about why I hadn't done anything and when I was going to move out of our house that he hadn't, and still hasn't, bought me out of. Thankfully, he went on holidays for a while, which gave me respite. I moved out and back into an insecure living situation because living with him was too hard. When he came home from holiday, he was finally free to live as if I didn't exist in our house with his girlfriend without the inconvenience of me being upset about the way he was treating me, or about him bringing his girlfriend over despite promising me he wouldn't. Up until this point, he had still been messaging me asking after our dog and if he could take him out for day trips. As soon as I started standing up for my fair share of the split, still significantly in his favor, he started to get very angry because I was being unreasonable. He stopped contacting me and started removing me from social media. We had what was hopefully our final legal meeting 3 months ago and agreed on the split. Wayward partner refused to actually negotiate, and his lawyer spent the whole meeting bullying me. Since then, he has done sweet fuck all except complain about how unfair it all is and how awful I am. I have done everything in my power to organize the separation that he wanted, to my detriment. All he has to do is sign the paperwork and organize his finances so he can pay me. Those are the only things I can't do for him. His messages to me a few months ago made it very clear that he now sees himself as the victim in this whole charade. He thinks that somehow I have been disrespecting his wishes and his boundaries this whole time, when in reality I gave him exactly what he wanted. He is mad that I won't hand over the keys without the documents signed. Even the simple act of my lawyer asking for an update makes him angry. I spent so many years of my life trying to make him happy. He betrayed me, lied to me, left me in the dirt and took my home. I've lost money, friends, stability, time, work, etc. He took and took and took. He wins. And somehow I am still the bad guy, and he is the victim. I don't freaking get it. What more can he possibly want? What more can I do? Now for the top comments. It's just the next step in shifting blame and avoiding responsibility. He doesn't want to think of himself as the bad guy, or that this is all his fault. That leaves you as the one to blame. Stop giving him so much power. Go no contact and only work through attorneys. I would also relook at everything. If he's going to be hostile when negotiating in his favor, and not sign things when they are, then go back and change it to be more even or in your favor and let your attorney handle it all. Playing to what he wants isn't helping, so why do it? Block him on everything and only communicate via attorneys. This is what self-centered people do. They shift blame to avoid responsibility. They make you the bad guy. It's pathetic, but if you're honest with yourself, this is always who they were. Ask yourself what red flags you ignored going into the relationships, and think about what you want in a partner going forward, like empathetic and respectful, humble, etc. All you can do is take the lessons you've learned and use them moving forward. That's the best you can harvest from this situation, and leave the selfish to the selfish. Stop caring what he thinks. Instead of worrying about why he hates you, do what you need to do, and stop trying to manage his feelings. He should not be a consideration in your life. He's an obstacle. Treat him as such. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. Like and subscribe if you haven't so as to help the channel and be notified when new videos drop. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.